all good things gotta come to an end. And now we are almost at the end of the EOSC Symposium 2025. 24, haha, 25, I will announce at the end. So we are at the end of 2024. I'm Ute Gunzenheimer, I'm the Secretary General of the EOSC Association, and it's now my pleasure to guide you through this closing session and to share with you the reflections we have in the tripartite about these last 2.5 very intensive days. But before we do that, I would like to give you a to-do, and the to-do is we would like to know, how did you like it? What did you appreciate, and where do you think we have to improve for next year, for 2025, because there will be an EOSC Symposium next year. So please use the Slido and enter your comments to allow us to get even better, because I think it wasn't too bad, right? So these are the instructions, but now we want to move on, and we want to hear from Dr. Jochen Zachko, and we know already that he has some issues, in that sense that he needs a one-liner for next year for the Parliament, for next week for the Parliament, and we would like to hear from our German host how you have reviewed and seen this symposium, although I think you did not have a chance to participate in all the sessions, but at least your view on the collaborations we are going to establish on a European and national level. And I ask you on stage, please. And you can give him an applause, please.
Yes, thank you. I've only been here since 2 p.m., so I can only judge the panel discussion and the little intros before that. But I'm very grateful that I have the chance to talk to you and give you some thoughts on what we think about the NFDI and what we think about the European Open Science Cloud and why we welcome this symposium in Berlin. As I said, I listened to the last session, and I must say it was a mixture of things for me. It was very impressive in some parts. For you, it's probably your daily work, but for me as an outsider, it is very impressive what I heard. It was a little confusing at times for me, sometimes even a bit scary, I must admit. But it was full of promise, and it was full of potential. And you're seeing somebody who did his last lab work in the late 80s, early 90s. So at that time, we had these huge boxes. And we were very proud of those huge boxes. And the data mining or data management at those times was, you start to put that in your word processor thing there, and that's the type of, you archive your data. And what I learned from my colleagues, and I'm very proud that they helped me along with this, is that data management today is a lot more. It's like 30, 35 years in between, and that's a huge step that has been taken. And if I would be like 35, I think it would be pretty cool to participate in that, because it's a little bit like gold mining at the moment, I think. And my feeling at that point is you have to make it happen and work and see results in the next 2 to 5 years. Because that's what politics, I come back to that later, expects. Because there's a lot of issues that need money at the moment, and you have to make politicians see why they have to invest in this, why there's no alternative to doing that. What brings you all together is a shared common interest in the topic of research data, I learned in the last 1.5 hours. And key questions might be, how can data and scientific information be made more usable and findable? What skills do researchers need to handle that today? And how can those skills be taught to researchers? You can see I'm on the other side of the digital divide, by the way. I saw a lot of people with notebooks here, yeah? I'm still on the paper side of the world. And how can these data be linked so that you can analyze them and use them nationally, European-wide, and interlink them, and You need a certain quality of these data, you need standards, and that is what I learned along the way in the last couple of months, and that for Germany, NFDI is doing a great work in that respect, and EOSC is trying to build that on the European level. Europe we need, definitely. We cannot do this alone, and that's why this is very important. This initiative that the Commission has started is very important, and I think it's important that it's science-driven. You have to see the benefit and what happens and comes along. You need fair principles and open data policies to do that. For us, I said that already, I think for us it's very important that EOSC links what is there nationally so that we have a network and they complement each other. Looking from a German perspective on this is that we have to invest every euro once for one thing and not do everything parallel, everybody. So you have to talk to each other and you have to make sure that these things really work together and that they can be interlinked and connected. I have learned when I looked at the agenda of this symposium, you have been talking to a lot of issues along the areas of common collaboration. Sensitivity of data and data sets has been a topic. Interoperability, and of course, in Germany we are very good in this. I fear the legal issues connected with that and the regulatory issues connected with that. You have also had, and there was a lot of clapping in before to one question. I think it was the question of open data and how open should data be. That is a controversial issue. I think if you think of data as the coin which pays for national or European innovation ecosystems, if that is true, then you have to address the question of what happens with these data and who uses those data that you all put into this system, into the management. And what I think is that we should look at that very openly. We should not be naive looking at that thing. I think within science, there is a great argument for keeping it totally open. But if you look beyond science, and a lot of you have interactions with industry or other partners from outside science, then you have to at least think about what openness of data means. Nonetheless, we have to address that and we have to solve that because it is one of the key regulatory elements we need if we want to keep Europe one of the key science players worldwide. And we have to use that. And our innovative RTD-driven industry needs the data as well. And I'm talking about the European scale of things. And we're facing, to be honest, we're facing growing international competition. I'm not telling you anything that's new to you. You see that every day, you read it every day. And other nations, other areas in the world have a very different view on data and what propriety of data means. So we have to take that into account. Data can be tapped without permission, misused or misappropriated. We have to address that. We have to think about how we solve that, and we means you, the scientists, have to think about how you solve that in EOSC, in NFDI. So we need usable and sensible usage strategies, and we need business models that address that question within the science community, but more importantly, in the cooperation between science and industry. I think, or I was told, my minister, Frau Stark-Watzinger, she remarked on the NFDI in her opening address. We are very proud we have NFDI. I was very serious when I asked that 2.5 to 5 years question before, because I think this is a very important time span that we have in front of us, because we have to think about how we sustainably finance this in the next couple of years. And so we have to show results, and we have to show benefit to science and to the innovation ecosystem, Germany or Europe. We have 400, I think that was the little talk from Sonja Schimmler. We have a lot of, you said that, 400 universities or something, or whatever, in the NFDI that work together to do a lot of things, standards, how to make data better, data management better, and how to better availability. And if this works out during the next years, I'm very confident that we will find a way to make this sustainable for Germany. But we have to show the benefit. That is the key issue for politics in that. And I was very impressed, coming back to the impressed, by the panel discussion and what I learned about how the interaction between the national and the European organizations is working or might work. And I learned that you have an EOSC EU node now, and that node is a hub in Europe. And so I look forward that not only NFDI, but all the other national initiatives go in there and integrate their power and their initiatives with the EOSC node, because that makes it then really workable, powerful, and gives results, I think. The EOSC and the services of the node will play, I think, a pivotal role to this end in the future. And the next step then is to bring this alive and working, to incorporate feedback from science. As I said earlier, I think this should definitely be science-driven, because it has to work for you as scientists. And it has to have the connections. I wish you every success with that. But after the panel discussions, I heard a lot of ideas. Some I didn't really understand in detail, I must say, but I had the impression that there are people who know what they want to do and how the future may look for this and how that can be used. And you're building something that is, I think, very important for the innovation, for the European innovation ecosystem, for the science system in Europe. Be successful and make that happen. I wish you every success. Thank you very much.
Very, very good. Thank you very much, Dr. Zachko. So before we have the reflections of the parties in the tripartite, I want to remind ourselves the timeline we are working towards to make things happen. So we are on track with that, because we have now a pool of 121 respondents who submitted and filled in the questionnaire we were launching over the summer. And out of that, we had 52 organizations who said we want to become an EOSC node. And now in parallel, we are also here and invite all of you. So you have a long list of to-dos. Come up with one sentence, make a response to the EOSC Symposium, how we can improve, and also consult the EOSC Federation handbook that is out currently. Then, within the tripartite governance, we will come up with a short list. So out of those 121 respondents and the 52, let's say, candidates, potential candidates for wanting to become a node, there will be a short list. And this short list will then enter into a dialogue in order to identify then a very small number of candidate nodes, who then in early 2025 will start to build the EOSC Federation. So in that things will materialize and they will become tangible. And that is what we are working to, so that at the next symposium in 2025, then we can present the first results. So that is the framework in which we work and operate. And now I invite first, I think, Dejan Dvořák, Deputy Head of Unit at the DG RTD Unit A4, on stage to share his reflections with us on the last days here in Berlin.
Good afternoon. I don't know if you hear me. Yes. I'm on the digital side of world. I come with a laptop. But it's a very pleasure to be here and see actually so many still around, persisting, the most committed ones, even if we are approaching the end. And for me, it's really a privilege to be here. Maybe to start with a congratulations to the organizers. I think the event was extremely well organized and I enjoyed it very much. It was a fantastic job done. Maybe also shout out to all the speakers and participants and everybody around online or here in person. I think that discussions were very motivating. They were very inspiring and engaging. And one thing that crossed my mind when I was talking to you and listening is that there is this spirit of can-do emerging very strongly from this room and echoing around. I think this is really, really important. And I've done similar, I was at the end of the symposium last year, I was looking at my notes, talking to last year's participants, and I would say that my recollection is last year was about what, and big question, what is a node? And I think that this year we are shifting towards how. It's how do we get involved? How do we participate? How do we build? It's not so much theoretical anymore. It's becoming very real. And I think it's a very good momentum and it's very tangible. One of the good examples, I would say, it's a co-drafting of handbook as well that I would like to bring up. I think this was more than a task. I think it was really a community stepping up and taking the ownership. And all the volunteers who have been working on it, I'd like to thank for their contribution already also from my side. And the other very good example of collaboration I would mention is the tripartite group. I think that it's a collaboration at its finest. I think that I can say that I'm really grateful for the association and the steering board to really showing an effort and what it means to build trust and to move forward as one voice and together. So this was really something that I think is essential for the whole endeavor. And then there is this big milestone that happened these days, and that's our first node that is up and running. I think it's not an achievement, but I would paraphrase or repeat from what I've heard already. It's a seed in the ground. It's very simple to access, to be honest. I tried it yesterday night, just before switching off. I registered, I have my account, and I have my credit points there. So I haven't used them. I will use them wisely, I guess. But I wonder who else has logged in. Can you raise hands? Yes, bravo. Applause to everybody. I've asked the guys behind who are running the technical infrastructure. I asked them first time, my message went out around 2 o'clock. I said, I will do this speech and I want to know how to report what's happening. How many are you? How many have registered? At that time, that was around 2 o'clock, there was 200. Okay, but just before entering this room, Peter whispered in my ears, we are already almost at 300. So within 1 hour and a half, 100 more have registered, which is a very good sign, I think. Of course, it's a leverage effect of people here and people online that they are trying, but let's not stop here. Let's promote it. Let's talk about it. Let's ask colleagues and collaborators, look, there's that. Please go ahead, try it, and give feedback. So that means that we are now entering really a new phase of EOSC, I would say. And building a federation It's not an easy challenge. Nobody said it would be easy, otherwise it would have been probably already done. But that's motivating, right? It's interesting, and we are part of a very exciting moment. And the amount of interest expressed through the survey this summer, I think that exceeded actually all our expectations. So this is also very good. So we have many expressing they want to join, they want to build, contribute, become a node. And now the questions will come like, how do we connect? How do we organize ourselves? How do we govern all that? How we synergize these things? And how do we prioritize what stays, what has to be enhanced, and how to sustain all that? These are all important questions that we need to answer. But maybe we need to remember that we are not starting from the scratch. We've heard that yesterday and today. There are good examples around and experience to tap into that we can leverage when we are building the federation. It's not the first federation ever built, and it's not the first network of sort of nodes ever built. So we can learn from there, and we should learn and build on top of it, and we should expand, and we should complement. We should take into account what is already existing. And through that, we will gain experience, we will learn, but now we have our feet in the water, and we will adapt, and we will improve, and we will get better and bigger. So in that sense, I think that EOSC will grow. There will be more nodes, there will be more services, and more users. And there is an ingenuity in this community that I think will find ways to create new types of service, or something that has been difficult before, and maybe it will become just a new reality, just like, okay, we can do that. And I think that EOSC will prove that it can be more than a sum of its parts. And to become this, what we heard is kind of a maybe invisible, but indispensable infrastructure to everybody. And what I would really like to see is that it also becomes a symbol of quality and reliability. I think this is important. So that it becomes some sort of a foundation, one of the enablers. Even, I mean, it is already, it's a facilitator, it's a channel, it is catalyst, but it will become even more of that for open science in Europe and beyond. And maybe just for the end, to wrap up this, is a thought that probably we still need to hold on regularly, is how are our users experiencing EOSC? What is it to them? How does it make a difference to log into their environment, and when their environment becomes part of EOSC, what more do they get? And we need to ask that every single time and try to find even more offer or make it easier to facilitate for researchers and those who will be using it to do what they do best, because at the end that's what matters. So thanks a lot for your time, thanks for the energy, and this incredible journey, which is very inspiring, and look forward in the coming months, years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dia. Now the challenge begins. We have 5 minutes left, but we still have the other two parties to conclude. Where is Stefan? Stefan Hanslik, you've just met him here on stage from the Austrian Ministry, will reflect on the last 2.5 days from the view of the EOSC steering board.
Thank you, Ute. I can be very short and precise because everything has been said so far, really. Thanks to my previous speakers, which I fully support with their views. I want to say this is still an exceptional experience for me as being member of the steering board. Seeing my colleagues on a regular basis, but also seeing the stakeholders, most of you also belonging to the EOSC Association, sitting together for 3 days and talking about nothing else than EOSC, which is also not true, because I think one of the most added values of this meeting was also the, let's say, the side products and the side activities around the EOSC enforcement, which all at the end are part of the EOSC process, I guess, but it was very good to see different people from different institutions, universities, research infrastructures, e-infrastructures, policy, politics, everybody was here. And this gives me the sign that it could not be wrong, what you did. And congratulations again. Congratulations to the association, to the commission, to the organizers also from the side of, especially from Germany, the German ministry, and the NFDI. And it's always a pleasure to meet people from NFDI because it is good to see some insights what is going on locally and who is involved in all these activities. It was also a good example for me. Maybe I can go back home and do some homework if such a symposium, not similar, but such symposium is at one day also, let's say, made or presented back in Vienna or the other European cities. And I, again, would congratulate you for this effort. And if I could, I would also rephrase the main sentence, which is always here on stage, building up the EOSC Federation. I think EOSC built up the Federation when we maybe meet next time, because as I see it as a consensus also so far, that the term of the functioning of the EOSC is getting more and more important, and we will have use cases, we have test beds next time we can discuss on and see how far we have gone. But thanks again and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Stefan. And now it's finally me here, and I have prepared an analog speech to share the reflections of the EOSC Association with you. Building the EOSC Federation is like getting a large, heavy wheel rolling. What we have seen over the last 2.5 days across the symposium with its 26 sessions, the panel discussions and the networking activities is all the efforts and how this effort looks like when many hands are on that wheel. What we can say with resounding clarity is that the wheel of an operational EOSC has now begun to move forward. Yesterday, we celebrated the launch of the EOSC EU node, the first EOSC node. And it's really exciting to see, and actually there Dejan stole my joke, how many people have already logged into the EOSC EU node and have tested it and are already sharing their credits. So that's exciting, and congratulations to that. We expect this momentum to steadily increase throughout 2025 with the enrollment of the first candidate EOSC nodes. And we must be prepared for the next step forward. At the moment, we may feel the wind at our backs. As we heard on Monday from Commissioner Ivanova and Deputy Director Sinerazzo, EOSC has the Commission's full backing as one of the pillars of the European research area. Secondly, the Draghi and the Letta reports, which underscore the importance of the European Knowledge Commons, provide EOSC with a strong policy foundation in European innovation and competitiveness. And thirdly, we have the explicit endorsement of the HITO report stating simply that EOSC has the potential to become the most generally used infrastructure in Europe. And I was extremely happy to hear that the countries are getting serious about EOSC. German Research Minister Bettina Stark-Watzinger made clear in her address on Monday that Germany's national research infrastructure, NFDI, has the signal to go EOSC. She asked, how will Germany leverage access to research data as the new goal of our millennium? And the answer to that was EOSC. This encouraging public support for EOSC has now presented this community with the challenge to meet these expectations of Europe on a grand scale. Now is the time to build on this momentum and get organized, because the winds can change direction without any notice, and we need to be prepared for that. In 2025, the tripartite governance will lead the way towards enrolling candidate nodes and will reanimate the discussion around the future funding and governance models for EOSC. But as we have seen this week, there is much to be done at every level to enable the tripartite success. I want to repeat, what Karl stated in his opening. We, the EOSC Association, as the voice of the community, stand ready to collaboratively lead the EOSC Federation, guided by the trusted oversight of the tripartite governance. And with that, I thank you very much for your attention. And now you cannot leave because we move on to the thank yous, which is actually one of the most important things. And for that, Sarah, I invite you on stage.
So thank you, Ute. And I just want to open with a statement that the symposium is not my full-time job, just to clarify this. And many people are asking me, how do you do that? It's a lot of work because they see that it's a massive work. Well, the answer is very simple. There is a massive team behind this, okay? And now I will try to thank everyone. So I want to start thanking Germany, the hosting country. Thank you to the Federal Ministry of Education and Research. And in addition to the Minister and Dr. Zacco, I would like to thank Marion Steinberger and Axel Woodrich from the Ministry, both members of the EOSC Steering Board who contributed to the Program Committee. A big applause to them. Secondly, I want to give a warm thank you to the European Commission for all their support in preparing, but also actively contributing to this event. Big thank you to the GRTD, to Signe Razzo that was with us on day one, and to Michael Arentoff and all his colleagues of the Open Science and Research Infrastructures Unit. A special mention goes to Javier Lopez-Albacete that works with us since January in the Program Committee. Thanks also to DG Connect. Gustav Kalbe was with us yesterday, and I want to give special thanks to Peter Segedi for his contribution to the event and for having made, together with the contractors, the EOSC You Know the Reality. Thank you very much. I mentioned Germany as the hosting country, but they were not the only countries to contribute. In the Program Committee, we had the two co-chairs of the EOSC Steering Board, Volker Beckmann and Jan Rosak, who made sure that the national perspective were well represented in the EOSC Symposium program. And having seen how packed were the sessions with the countries on stage, well, big success, well done. Thank you very much. And now a very special thank you to my colleagues from the board of the EOSC Association, to Karel Leuben, Ute Gunzenheimer, and Klaus Tochtermann, that almost on a weekly basis were working non-stop on the EOSC Symposium. A big applause for them. And despite Karel was great, and we know that the president is great, I must give special thanks to Ute. Ute was the engine of this symposium from its conception to the end. And we all know Ute, she has already started making plans already for the next year. Thanks, Ute, to bring here all the relevant stakeholders together, to coordinate the organizing team, and for gifting us with a truly German experience. Massive applause for Ute. There is another person that deserves a special mention for this symposium, and this person is Klaus Tochtermann. He not only supported the program committee, and by the way, if you enjoyed this keynote speaker today, Julia Lane, was Klaus' idea. But he also supported the logistics organization of this symposium, making available totally in kind 4 persons from his team at ZBW. The lovely person that you have met at the registration, Melanie, Romin, Heike, and Doreen Siegfried, that could not be with us physically, but that coordinated the organizing committee in the previous months. They all have been working strenuously with us, and if we can enjoy, or we could enjoy this location and everything went smooth logistically, that's thanks to ZBW. A big applause for ZBW. There was another key member in the program committee this year, Jörg Schurvetter, that you've just seen on stage, the director of NFDI. And it's thanks to him if we had so many contributions and participation from NFDI. Thank you very much, Jörg. And quoting your minister, thanks for making NFDI going EOSC. I mentioned all the members, I hope, of the program committee, but there was also a shadow member that I would like to thank today, and it's my colleague, Pihla Kauranen from CSC. So Pihla has been my right-hand woman for the full organization of the symposium. She also coordinated all the support team that has been helping on site. I truly believe that Pihla deserves a massive applause. Where are you, Pihla? Where is she? There, okay, she is the one, okay. Pihla, as well, was not alone in all this effort, but she worked with a team of roughly 20 persons that were coming directly from the EOS community. And here I really want to thank you all the projects and organizations who lended us some resources. I cannot name them all, but I want them to stand up, and I want you to welcome them with a big applause. Please, all the support persons, can you please stand up? Federico, Anu, Elisa, Letizia, Jan. If the support team, how we call it, was in charge of supporting the program, we also had 2 extra teams supporting the logistics. One organizing committee, as I said, led by ZBW, but with the support of Belnet. And here I want to give a big thank you to Freya and Letizia, that I've seen you in the audience. So wave. And also to the EOSC Association, especially to Lenka, for all the work on the communications and decorations that you could enjoy here. That's their merit. The other team that worked with us we only met them here in Berlin, and I want to thank the hotel support staff that made our stay super enjoyable, but especially also the technical team sitting in the back of the room. They have been really super kind and flexible and made everything look simple and smooth. And sorry again for the last minute changes with the presentations. Big applause. I'm reaching the end, and my last thank you goes to the whole community. To the persons that helped us in organizing the sessions, to the person who organized the unconference sessions, the over 130 speakers and panelists, the poster presenters, the UNODE information booth staff, and finally all the participants on site and online that made this event very successful. Thank you very much for having spent these days with us, and I truly hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you.
There's one person for which you have not spent applause yet, and this is Sarah. Sarah, you will. It has been really, truly impressive to work with you over the last year on putting this EOSC symposium together, and I really, really hope you will do that again next year. Because, and this is actually the next slide, just to say that, we are going to be in Brussels next. That's not the slide. Ah, that's the wrong one. Ah, that's the right one. We are going to be in Brussels next year, and please get ready for that. And should I ever tell you you should register, do that, because otherwise you're on the waiting list. Ne? So, Sarah, thank you so much for all your support. It was great. We enjoyed it very much, and we wonder what you achieved in your day job, but that's another question. Now, we have some gifts, and everyone who was here on stage got an Ampelmann mug. So this is basically what we have here on all of our traffic lights, and usually it's green, you know, because keep on walking and keep on the pace, because that's what's needed going forward. Then you had very stressful moments here, and we are here in a part of Berlin that is, that shows the diversity and coolness of the city. But there's also another part, and it's in the west, and that's my favorite place when I go when I need to relax. It's called KaDeWe. It's our department store, you know. You go there, and it's clean, and it's nice, it's luxurious. Please go there in the remaining time you are here in Berlin and enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so we're almost at the end. Next year, 2025, in autumn, we're looking into the first week of November. More information will follow. We will be in Brussels in order to impress everyone there in the institutions about how tangible and real EOSC is. And now, last announcement, the next session, or not session, actually, event that's going to take place is the back-to-back event of the NFDI with the opening of the EOSC. How do you read that even? By NFDI, cross? But we're not cross, we're working together. So, so that event is going to take place. And now the final message and slide. Thank you all for being here, for actively contributing. And the message is, go EOSC. Thank you very much.